All right, what's up, guys? We are back. Moto Mondays hanging out. I'm your boy, Ronnie Faisst, and we kick it here every Monday night, 7 p.m. Central Time, doing moto talk. We talk about motocross, we talk about training, we talk about riding, talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. And Mel is already in here. She ain't wasting no time.
I don't want to go to the screen, but
all right, she's in here, but check it out. We are back. Let me try to hit the little things in here. Boom. There it is. Moto Mondays. That's how we do it. And so, yeah, let's just jump in. You guys can... What the heck happened?
It's struggling.
I don't know why that's up there. But, so the way we do it, we talk. You guys can just send in your questions. Anything you want to know about motocross, my career, my faith, anything. Things that you guys, riding tips, bike tips, whatever. We gather here so I can connect with the people, you guys, and answer questions, try to be as helpful as I can. But here, let's do a little update first. It's been, like I said, it's been 2 weeks since we've been able to get back on track, and the reason why we were traveling, me and Mel took off. We did our June class here on a Saturday. Eric Davis, who's in the chat, he was out there. He was shooting photos. We took off the very next day, went to Colorado, celebrated Father's Day, celebrated my birthday. And then we were there for 4 days with Mel's parents. And then we jammed over to California, flew in and was there for 4 days and did a class out there at Fox Raceway. And it was really cool to get back to California, see Twitch, see Taka. Didn't get a chance to see Deegan because he was out of town. He's back on the East Coast right now. Danger Boy's training for Loretta Lynn, so they usually spend that month preparing back there, getting ready, riding in the humidity, getting ready to go down to Loretta's and compete at the Nationals. So bummed I didn't get to see him, but all good. Got to do the class out there, did it at Fox Raceway, and a little bit different than doing the classes here in the Midwest, because here in the Midwest I do it on a private track. I have the whole track to myself, so it's really convenient to have the track to yourself, pull your guys on and off where you want. Very easy to talk to them. I didn't realize doing a class there, I was gonna have to yell all day. Like it was on a Saturday at Fox Raceway, which is the busiest track in Southern California, and it was packed. And I had there's so many. And I did it on the vet track. Because everyone that came to class was on a beginner level, so we kept them on the vet track. And it was so busy that I am yelling over, I don't know how many bikes are on the track, but gazillion of bikes on the track, so I lost my voice. So I didn't even think about that, but that's one of the things, a little bit different to go out there and have to make sure you can get your guys on and off the track safely as you work on different zones and stuff, with all the busyness of the riders out there yelling over the track. Over the bikes on the track, but overall still went good. Had 4 super cool dudes, super motivated. Everybody did great, and it's going to be the plan is to continue to do 1 month a year or 1 class a month here, all the way up until probably November, and then we're going to be going out to Cali December, January, February, March, and possibly even April, because April here is really, with the rain and stuff, it's kind of sometimes hard to get out on the track. And I'm thinking I'm going to be doing 2 out there. I only take 4. I take 5 riders here because I have the track to myself. But out there I'm doing 4 riders because of the busyness of the public track. So, but there's been a lot of DMs, a lot of people wanting to get training out in California. And everyone who took the class, the first class, those 4 guys want to come back to the next one. So they're all like, hey, as soon as you drop the date, I'm signing up. So I'm going to start doing back-to-back. I'm planning on back-to-back, so maybe if I come in on a Friday, I'm going to do a Saturday and a Sunday, or maybe a Friday and a Saturday. But either way, I'm going to do 4 guys on one day, 4 guys the next day, hang out with the homies a couple days, and then fly back. So be doubling up on the California classes while I'm out there to make the most of the trip. But that's what's kind of been going down back here now in Kansas. It is crazy hot and humid. Going to be going out and working with a rider tomorrow, doing a little bit of one-on-one, working on some starts, getting him ready for his next race that's coming up. And the next class here is July, what is it, 22nd? 25th, right? What is it, July 25th? Mm-hmm. July 25th is the next class here. And then August 22nd, correct? Mm-hmm. August 22nd is the next one. I haven't released a September date, but I will be dropping it soon. But all the classes are full up to this time. So thank you everybody who has signed up. Looking forward to working with you guys. All right, so let's see. So that's really it. Back on track here. Me and Mel are banging out our stuff. So if you guys want to check out our other channel, it's Ronnie and Mel. It's our channel about our Christian faith. You can hear about what we believe, why we believe it. We talk about the Bible and God, so check that out as well. We are back here getting ready to bang out some videos on that as well. But yeah, let's jump in. So let's see here. Who do we got? All right, so we got Jesus is our Savior. And he said, oh, let me pop your name up here. I like to kick everybody's name up so everybody's saying. So it says, do you put your dirt bike above God? And I would say, no, not at all. I'm a Christian and I keep God first. There was obviously a time I didn't get saved until I was later in life. So obviously all through my childhood, all through majority of my amateur career and even half of my pro career, I did. My dirt bike probably was my God because I didn't know God. But when I got saved and Jesus radically transformed my life, I have realized everything that I have comes from God. And now I keep God first above all things. Matthew 6:33, seek first the kingdom and his righteousness. And so no, I do not allow anything to take place of God. So good question. Let's see, Eric Davis. Oh, it just, what up, bro? I saw the question. I saw the question marks. I thought you had a question. Let's see. So Brian, he said, all right, send my boy Brian. So what's up, dude? Been hopefully we'll bumping each other at the local track here soon. It's been a while since I've seen you. Hope the hand is healed up. I know you had your thumb was jacked up, but he said, what is your favorite graphic what is your favorite graphic designer? What is my favorite graphic designer? I'm gonna say I'm thinking you're talking about the Moto graphics. I'm gonna give a shout out to M7 Graphics, the dude who did my graphics. I'm super stoked. You can see the bike behind me. He did those graphics. If I move out the way, custom, marked, collective, FMX graphics. But I like my graphics super simple, super clean, and he did a really good job about that. I don't like stuff really busy. I just like it simple. And when I said, hey, I just want something clean and simple, and I didn't even have to change anything. He did one take. So look him up. I believe it's just m7designs.com. I believe it. You can find him on Instagram, but I'm giving him a shout out. He's doing my graphics right now, and he did a really good job. So hit him up. They're up in Canada, but he was able to design me something really fast and had it here super quick. So super cool dude. Let's see. So maybe somebody. So we got Fred. What up, Feist? David. What up? Spell check. So maybe all good. I'm looking for some question mark. Here's Eric Davis. All right, so let's get Eric up here. Oh, I hit it twice. Oh, he says, so what is your favorite encounter with God while you were riding and touring? What was your favorite encounter with God while you were riding or touring? All right, so neither of this happened this is the first one that came to mind, so I'm sharing this one. I got God stories for days. Think about, I've got over 10 years now in the faith, and the reason why I'm still a Christian and still following God is because I have a history in God. God has done things throughout my life, all along my journey, and I look back and go, man, that was God. Like, that was God. That was God. God was always, that's what he was building my faith. That's why I'm still in it. Like, I know he's real because he's done stuff in my life. But the first thing that came to mind, what happened? Sorry. Things shot down. I thought I lost you guys. But first thing that came to mind, because the God encounter that had to do with motocross, and I got a few stories, obviously career stories, but this one was really cool. And it was in 2011. I broke my femur, and I broke it at the Nuclear Cowboys tour. Bad crash, hit the wall inside of arena. Was doing a flip trick, and my foot had slipped off, and I went into like a double knack flip, landed. I couldn't get to my back brake, endoed into the hockey wall, snapped my femur, got surgery, and this was later in my career. So I was in late 30s when this happened. So I was, and the year before that, I tore my ACL. So I tore my ACL, came off of that, came right back from that, broke my femur. So 2 major, and 6 months off the bike with the ACL injury, 4 months off the bike with the broken femur. And broken femur, if anyone's broken femur, it's the gnarliest break for moto. It's gnarly. Like, it sucks. Every time I hear when someone breaks a femur, I'm like, oh, because I know what it's like. But anyway, broken femur. I'm in my. I had a hot tub. So this is my old house in California. I had a pool and a hot tub out back. I'm sitting in my hot tub, kind of just doing some muscle therapy. And it was early in my rehab. I just started therapy, and I didn't know if I was gonna like make it back. And I thought, and I was talking to God. I was sitting there having a conversation with the Lord. And I'm like, you know, is this the end? Is this it? Is my career gonna be over now? And I came to peace with it. I said, you know what, Lord? I've lived my dream. I've had an awesome career. If it's over, I'm okay. It can be over. But if it's not, I'm like, Lord, heal me. I'm like, I want to come. I want to come back, but I'm okay if you're saying that this road is ended, you know. And so I kind of just surrendered it to the Lord. But I was talking to Him, and I'm like, but like, if you can heal me, heal my leg, and let me come back from this, and let me come back to being competitive. I'm like, I want to compete. I don't want to just. If you'll allow it, let this happen. So I'm praying, you know. Right when I got done praying, this white dove flew down and landed in the tree next to me. Now, I've lived in Temecula, California. I don't know if anybody's ever been to Temecula, California. But I lived there. I lived in that house for 15 years. I lived in that area for 20 years. White doves just don't fly around Temecula. The moment I surrendered my career to God, this dove flew down and landed in the tree next to me. And I looked over at it, and I just began to cry. Like, I began to weep. I was overwhelmed because it was, to me, that was God. Like, and maybe I should give you the background. The dove represents the Holy Spirit in the Bible. So when that dove landed, as soon as I looked at it, the first thing I thought was God. I wasn't thinking, oh, pretty white dove. No, I'm thinking like the presence of God. Like, I'm thinking God's with me and God is hearing me. He's hearing me and He's with me right now. And I just started to cry. I was like weeping in the presence of God. And it was like it was just one of those moments. It was an encounter where I felt like God heard me. He saw me. He knew my situation. But I felt like He was with me. And I didn't know at that point whether I was going to come back or retire. I didn't know. Because I just had started physical therapy. But from that day forward, I was going to physical therapy. And I got stronger, and I got stronger, and I got stronger. And through that journey, I realized, hey, I'm going to be able to ride again. And I did. And I got back on my bike. 4 months later, after breaking my femur, I competed at X Games. I didn't even do a backflip until the contest. I showed up at practice, I didn't even do a flip in practice. I was nervous. And I was like, dude, I'm just winging it. And I went out there, and then I got a bronze medal. Same, so it was gnarly. But anyway, it was a cool encounter, and it's just one of the moments. And like I said, people might say, oh, you know, coincidence, that's not God. That, to me, like God does those things in each person's lives, and that was one of the things He did in my life, where He's let me know I'm real. I'm right here. You know what that dove represents, and He knew that I would look at that dove and knew that He was with me. So that was one of the cool encounters that I had through my moto career, of God showing up and doing cool things in my life. And not only did He heal me, like He said, I just wanted to ride X Games that year. I just wanted to ride. And honestly, I didn't even think it was even possible to ride X Games that year. The fact that I made it back in 4 months and went out and medaled that year was, you know, I wouldn't even think that was possible. But hey, the Bible says, He who is able to do exceedingly above more than you ask or think. And it says, with God all things are possible. And I believe that is true. God is able to do more than you think, more than you ask or think. If you do things alone, you'll get pretty far. You do things with God, God will take you places and do things you never dreamed of. And I've experienced that in my life. That's why I still follow Him. All right. So, long answer. Mel says I do that all the time. I give really long answers. But hey, I like details. All right. So this is from Rob. He said, What year do you feel FMX peaks in terms of popularity? X Games doesn't have the same vibe these days. You know what? I agree with that for sure. Man, I don't know exactly what year I could say it peaked, but I just know I got to experience the best years of it. I think what was really cool about the early years of freestyle is everything was new. There was always new tricks. The bar was always being raised. They had the really big courses. You'd show up to Home Depot Center, and there was just packed 13, 14 jumps, big ramps, all different distance, dirt lifts. So this huge course, it's not like that no more. You go now, they're inside of, they kind of put all the events into one, and then they have like 2 jumps. So you just jump down, jump back, jump down, jump back, 2 75-foot ramps. So it kind of doesn't really display freestyle at its best. I mean, the guys still throw down way gnarlier tricks than we ever did, but at the same time, there's just so much more that they could do, but there's the way they're doing it now. Doesn't allow the riders to have all that variation and variety as far as course goes, which I think made the sport just look even cooler, and it was way more challenging. And even all the riders will tell you that these days, that the old courses of freestyle motocross were the gnarliest. Like when you would show up and you'd be nervous just to jump the jumps. And a lot of times you wouldn't even jump all of them because you get a little 5-minute practice session. You didn't even get them all in. And then you had to go out in your run and just be like, man, I haven't even jumped that one yet. I'm going to try to do a KOD over it. And you just had to wing it in your run. So, and now 2 jumps, most of the guys will go out and bang out all their tricks in their first practice because it's 2 75-foot jumps and it's standard jump. So a lot easier. But I don't know when I could say it peaked. I mean, I still think it's cool to watch. I'm still blown away, and a lot of respect for the guys because where it's at now is way gnarlier. It's like what you have to do to get a medal these days is so intense. Double flip and front flip in your freestyle run, or don't even think about walking home with a medal these days. So that's intense. So a lot of risk, but I don't know when it really peaked out, but I feel you on that. I feel like a lot of guys have felt like that. But hopefully we need some younger riders. At the end of the day, here's the way sports survive. The amateurs, people coming up through the ranks. And one thing that I have noticed about freestyle is there's no younger guys. There was like the original dudes who did it. Then there was that next 2 groups. Well, those next 2 groups are those dudes are getting older now. Where's the next group of young freestyle guys? And where's the Americans? There is none. Adam Jones is the last American still competing in freestyle, and he is getting up in his 30s. He will be retiring sooner than later. Doesn't have double flips, doesn't have front flips, so he can't get on the podium anymore. So where's the next young? There's not. The dudes who are pushing it are the Australians. Mostly at Australians, because I judge at X Games. The Australians, they're like, if there was 8 guys at X Games, 6 of them were like Australian. And then you got some Europeans in the mix. And then Taka and Wanky are jumping in there from Japan. But not a lot of Americans, not a lot of younger guys coming up right now. And I think that's one thing that's needed for any sport to survive is new talent. So, I hope it don't die off completely, which I don't think it will. But it's not like racing where there's just the huge amateur ranks. So many amateurs in racing. So that sport ain't never going nowhere. All right, so this is my homie Christian. What up, dude? He was just out. We were just hanging out together. He came out to the California class. He's from Arizona. And we were kicking it. We rode. And all right, like I said, he said some tips on riding ruts in the straights. So you're just saying basically getting into some ruts on the straightaways. So always look ahead. Like I think a lot of guys, when you look, you kind of look right in front of the front wheel. Look ahead a little bit, and when you see the rut, don't stare directly into the rut. Kind of look where you want to go. Like I always look ahead. Where your eyes go, you go. So focus at the end of the rut and relax into it. A lot of times when people get on the ruts, it's because they clench up. You need to stay loose. Once you get in the rut, just let the bike ride. Just go from like being tense here, and then relax and just flow through the rut and stay on the gas. But looking ahead, I think, is going to be your best bet. Look where you want to go. Don't really look where you're at. Look where you're going. That's a good way to put it. But and stay loose. Staying loose is the key to ruts. Once you start to tense up and your tire gets on the edge is where you get off balance. So if you got to be loose. That's why I said strong legs, loose arms. Keep a nice strong grip down low, but leave those arms loose and be able to work on the bike. Move on the bike. Don't be stiff. Yeah, we need to get you out here to a Midwest class and get you on some ruts. I know you were talking about it the other day. I know it's a long trip, but hopefully we can start doing some classes on some ruddier tracks, and that'd be a good... Gets ruddy out here. Some of the tracks out here get really ruddy, so... All right. So we got Mr. Peters here, Kobe boy. He says, was it hard to balance faith and freestyle? You ever gone to burst out some old no fear gear? All right. So I don't even think I have any of my old no fear gear. I might have one old no fear jersey that I might have kept through the years, but so probably not gonna bust out any old no fear gear. I'm actually super pumped on Shift, love Shift, and I love the new stuff that just came out, the 2021 stuff, the white and gold. Looks really cool. So probably gonna stay with Shift, but as far as balancing my faith and freestyle, God just did a work. I just came to the Lord in faith, and I just made it a priority in my life that the first thing I would do when I woke up was talk to God and read my Bible. And it just became, I put it right in my schedule. So I would wake up in the morning, I would sit down, I'd open my Bible, I'd talk to God, and I'd read scripture. When I was done, ate my breakfast, and went out and rode. And I just put it into it just became a part of my daily routine of who I was. And as I just read that Bible, God was speaking to me and challenging me and began to do stuff in me. There was things that were happening on the inside. And when things started to change on the inside and I started to, change the way I thought, it's kind of when things on the outside began to change. But he did something in here first, and then that began to play itself out. And like I said, it just became a part of my lifestyle. And as far as it just became who I was. It was God was doing something real. It was real to me. I had a real, genuine encounter with the Lord throughout, the second half of my career, and He was just doing stuff all along. And like I said, first thing in the morning, stay plugged in the church, and God just did stuff. So it's just, I feel like it just, I feel like when it just becomes who you are, When you love the Lord, it's in you, So, but if you're talking, just if I'm answering that question right, I feel like that's just who I am, I like faith, family, and moto. Like, that's me. I love Jesus, I love motocross, and I love my family. But as far as if you're trying to say how do you be a Christian in the freestyle world, because there's not a lot of Christians in that world. If you're talking about that type of balance, I just had to be wise. In the beginning, it was kind of I stumbled along the way, had to figure out how to do things. But it was learning where are my weaknesses, what's causing me to stumble, and then realize, okay, I need to cut that off, and just being wise where I put myself, who I hung out with, and use wisdom on those types of things. But hopefully that helps, Mr. Peters. And let's see here. All right, I see this is Trevor. I don't see any question marks, but I know it's questions because I see it says, do you? Okay. I don't know why it's not popping up. All right, it says, do you know where to get your name and number put on the back of your jersey for Fox gear? Oh, wait, I don't know why it didn't pop out. So this is from Trevor. I think Fox does it. Shift does mine, and Fox owns Shift. So see if you can just have it done through Fox. If not, I know there's a company in California that's called ZLT. He used to do all my jerseys when I rode for Alpine Star. So look it up. ZLT, he's a super cool dude. He's in Corona, California. They do really cool numbers. Did all custom stuff. He had one of my jerseys had Feist in the was it the eye? Yeah, I think it was the eye. Was it like a little dude throwing like a kung fu kick? So he does cool custom stuff. So look it up. Why can't I remember the name now? Whatever I just said. Went blank. ZLT. Look him up. All right, so this is Pete here. So Pete, he brought his son out. So Pete was at him and his son Seth came out to the June class, right the Saturday before we took off to California. He said, so what's the deal with no Lucas Pro motocross? Do you know when they are going to race? Man, I actually don't know when they're going to race, and it's a bummer. I think it's just like this whole you know, pandemic deal, second wave, kind of jacking everything up. I know they were planning on having a few races, and they pulled the plug. So kind of stinks for everybody. And I have no idea if they're going to race. I just saw Unadilla post. Unadilla is one of the national tracks. I was scrolling before I jumped on here. And I thought they were posting about the national coming out, and they're not. They're posting about an just an amateur race coming up. And because I'm from New Jersey, I used to race there when I was a kid, and I had a picture of the track. Track looked so sick. I was like, man, it'd be kind of cool to go back to Unadilla and just ride a local race. Be super fun. All right, so this is from David Edwards. He says, are you going to film and post your classes? Yes. So I know Mel got a few clips. We haven't. I know she got a few clips from the first one, but yeah, I wanna put a little edit together and just have some cool stuff like that. But I don't think I just have enough footage right now to make the edit. But as we go, hopefully I'll get more and more footage. And yes, excuse me, we will try to put something together so you guys can check out how it goes down. But definitely, we're going to get some classes up for you guys so you can check it out. All right, so here's another one. All right, so this is from Chris. He said, what is a good race bike for a 13-year-old? I'm trying to think. When I was 13, I'm always trying to look back, like, what was I riding when I was 13? I believe I was still 12, 13. I was still on a CR80 when I was 13. When I was 14, I jumped up to, and I was pretty tall. That year I was 13, I was tall on my 80. And I jumped up to a 125. So I had a 80cc two-stroke to a 125cc two-stroke from 14 to 15. So I guess depending on how big, assuming you're talking about your son or your friend, depends how tall he is. Probably depends on even just riding level and ability. But I would think if he's 13, he's probably getting close. I mean, I would think he would still be on 80. But if he's tall, he could be getting close to not being able to fit on that thing. Because like I said, when I was 14, I was out. I couldn't fit on it. It's too tall. So depending how big he is, but I think a two-stroke 80 is a good, nice, safe bike to rip around on for a 13-year-old. All right, so we got V-Dub dropping the super chat. Thank you for that, sir. V-Dub is always on here. Shout out to the boy. He says, good to have you and Mel back. That was a good video with Taka. Have been under the weather for a few days. Here's a little support for the program. So thanks for the support. V-Dub is always on all our live chats. You guys, I know you guys see him here. A lot of you guys are. I recognize names all the time. So thank all the guys that are here week after week. V-Dub follows us on our ministry page as well. Super cool dude. And yeah, I really like the Taka live Q&A as well. I thought that was really cool. So when we start going back out to the California schools, we're going to make sure that we do that. I'm going to try to sit down with Twitch. Even Potter. I saw Potter when I was out there, and I was like, yo, you down to do a live on my YouTube? And he's like, yeah. So it'd be cool to catch up with him. A lot of guys don't know what happened to Potter, and he was a top freestyle guy. And he's still hanging, lives right by Twitch. And sit down with him. Maybe, I know Deegan's always crazy busy, but maybe we'll get lucky. We can sit down, have him come on. But anyway, anyone who's out in that area, maybe Vicky Golden, cool, the best and the only girl in freestyle, killing it right now. If anybody follows her and sees her pictures, she's learning lots of tricks. And rumor is she's doing no-handed front flips off the cheater ramp, but hey, that's pretty sick. I don't care if it's a cheater ramp or not. She did a front flip, no-handed. So I give her major props. So it'd be cool to have her come on and just talk to her. So yeah, so be on the lookout for every time we're in California to bring on a guest out while we're out there, because I think it's cool to mix it up. You guys always hear from me. It's cool to hear from some other people in the industry. All right, so we got Chris here. He says, how do you go through the whoops clean? Now, depending what type of whoops you're going to talk about, I'm just going to assume you're talking about like stadium-style supercross whoops. And I talked about a little bit about this on another live. But on stadium whoops, it's all about entrance. It's all about coming in with momentum. Once you get in the whoops, it's hard to create momentum. You want to carry momentum into the whoops because you want to get on top of the whoops. You don't want to fall in. So if you come in slow, your front end already wants to dive into them because you don't have enough momentum to get you on top. So the entrance is key on the whoops. It's like come in with speed, but obviously I get it. That's the scariest part, to commit to the whoops, to say, okay, I'm going to commit and get on top of them, because you know if you drop in, if the whoops are big enough, stadium style whoops can put you over the bars really fast. But the key is you want to be on the balls of your feet. You want to grip hard. Like, I'm not a death grip type of rider with my legs all through the entire track. I ride pretty relaxed. I keep my legs close to my bike, but I don't death grip the bike with my legs. But when you go through the whoops, you death grip the bike. And start low. Don't pinch just with your knees that your feet get. Pinch, start with your pinch down low. Pinch at your ankles, your calves. If you pinch with your ankles and your calves, your knees are going to be tight. So pinch down low. You want to, if you're a taller guy, you always want your head forward, but you want your butt back. Arms up and out, and you want to stay on the gas, but you need to let the bike move under you. The bike should go kurt. If you're hitting stadium whoops, your front tire needs to touch every single one. When you skip one is where you get in trouble. If you get too far back and you skip one, you're really in trouble, because what happens when you're too far back and the tire goes over the whoop? Your arms are already extended. What's it going to do? It's going to pull you off balance. The back of the bike's going to hit you in the butt. So that's why you need to stay up, crouch down. Look at the pictures of like Roxton and those guys going through the whoops. Their head is right over the crossbar. So get low, get racer status, get your head down low over the bars, and give yourself room. Don't get back here to where you got, if that thing skips, it pulls. Because if you're here and it skips, there's sometimes you can save it. It's not fun when it skips, but if they're little safe whoops to learn on, you can skip and get out of them all the time. But that's the technique. It's front tire, rear, front. It's front, rear, the whole way through. Pop, 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 pop. And you come in, skip. And you just gotta work your way into it. One of the ways, like when I was racing speed and style, and go up a gear, like, if you're on a 450, you can go through in fourth gear. Like, most guys will clip up the third. The higher you're up, think about this. If you're in second, don't come out like you're right. A lot of people take the corner in second. Don't stay in second, because second's going to go, it's going to want to drive the rear wheel into the hole. Because the bike's, there's so much torque. You want it lugging. So if you get the bike lugging, the back end just wants to flow and not drive into the hole. So go up 2 gears. Don't, like, third's cool. You can get through them in third. But the faster you get, the easier it is. People are like, oh, I can't pull fourth, I'm lugging. But ride them in third, and then once you get fast enough in third, go to fourth, and it'll even skim them even easier. The bike's just, it doesn't have that. It doesn't want to pull the bike into the whoop. So make sure you're up a gear, good body position, and staying on the gas. But what I was getting at, when I was first learning how to ride supercross whoops, and when I was training for speed and style, I did the same thing. I built a set that was going to be bigger than the set that was going to be at X Games. So when I went to X Games, I was like, dude, these are easy, because I've been practicing on way gnarlier set. And same thing, I was a little intimidated coming into them, because I'm like, dude, these are gnarly looking. If I skip, I'm going to go over the bars. So I was like, kind of like, it's all in. It's like doing a backflip. You got to flip the ramp. Once you leave the ramp, it's all over. So you got to commit. You got to know you're doing it before you get to it. Same thing in the whoops. Come out of the corner and you clip up 2 gears. You got to be like, I'm riding these whoops. But how I did it, I cheated it. I would come in and get on like 2 or 3, and I would jump out. So I rode the edge. I go like, so got as far over to the right or the left, whatever side you want, and I'd come in, get on 2 or 3, and then I'd jump out. And I'm like, okay, cool, that wasn't that bad. And then I came in again, and I stayed in a little longer, and then I jumped out. And I did that until I was like, man, I could ride these, and then I went through. So that's how I eased into it, instead of just trying to be bonsai straight down the middle. So I worked into it. So that might be a good technique for some of you guys, but it's all confidence. At the end of the day, whoops are confidence, and the only way you're gonna get confident in the whoops is to ride them. And I've noticed, because I've had a speed and style track at my house for years, most of the guys that come over ride my track skip the whoops all the time, go around the whoops. Most guys don't. People don't want to ride the whoops. One of the best places to get fast. If you can get fast in the whoops, such a good place to pass and make up time. So practice them and make choose a day. There's like, if that's an area you want, make the whole session about whoops. Don't even go out and do your laps that day. Say, hey, I'm going to go out and ride whoops today, and that's all I'm going to ride. And go out there and just spend an hour or two in the whoops until you leave there with confidence. And the next day you come back, you're going to feel a little bit better. And that confidence. And as soon as you start getting confident in it and you know you can do it, whole different program. You don't come out of the corner and go and get all timid and tense up. You come out of the corner and you stay relaxed and da-da-da-da-da-da. And you know you could do it. That's just confidence. And you build confidence by doing it. All right. So, here, I don't want to skip nobody. How do you get through the whoops clean? So sit down. So we got Tomcat. Said, what's up? Killer Hammers, what's up, my man? That's the homie. I see you doing the YouTube channel too. Check him out. He's got his YouTube channel. He's a pro skater from Bali. All right, hold on. It looks like he's got a question. Let me get him up here. All right, he says, tell the story when you meet Taka and Twitch last week. Hold up. Tell story when you meet Taka and Twitch last week. Good to see you guys ride the dirt bike together. Tell a story. He's saying, tell a story when you meet Taka and Twitch last week. Man, I don't understand the question, dude. Sorry. But I'm saying so I was in Cali last week and hung out with Taka, did the live Q&A, but I got to ride with Twitch. So it was a super fun. Anytime I go back there, it's always a cool trip. Some of my closest friends are like family back there. So got the rip with Twitch at Star West. And actually, I'm working on that edit. So I'm trying to get it done by Thursday is my goal. So if it's not up by Thursday, I'm a squid. But the goal is to post that by Thursday. So I got to go to Star West. And I got to ride Twitch's Honda. 2020 Honda was actually, I rode Honda for probably majority of my life career. And it's the first time I got to ride Honda since I stopped riding them in like 2012, I think. So it was funny. It took like three laps, and I was like, I felt pretty good on it. So pretty cool. So I got to rip that. Like I said, stayed with Twitch, hung out with him, got to do live with Taka. So those dudes are two of my best friends. And I don't know if he's talking about, because I didn't understand his question completely, but he might be talking about, because on that live, Taka was talking about, and that's what I think he's getting at. So, how Taka had met me in Twitch. And so Taka basically, if you haven't seen the live from last week, Taka basically showed up in California with a dream. The dude didn't know how to speak English, just had a dream, wanted to be a freestyle guy, showed up, found his way to Jimmy Fitzpatrick's house, Fitzland, and I don't even know how he ended up there, but he found his way there. That's where I met him at. And he was riding there, and Twitch met him there. And we were like, yo, this dude rips. Like, Taka was sick. Like, way back when, he still had skills. And Twitch kind of took him under his wing for a second, let him move in with him, lived with Twitch for a couple years, and taught him all the bad words. That's why Taka curses all the time, because he lived with Twitch, because he couldn't speak English. But, dude, I remember he used to roll up to my house, because he couldn't speak. He'd go like this, me ride? Me ride? Is it okay, me ride? I'm like, yeah, come over. And he'd roll over to my house. He had this piece of crap, like, it was like a Nissan or like, I don't know, it was like this little pickup truck. It barely started. Every time he'd go to leave, he could barely get it started to leave the yard. Smoking he used to smoke cigarettes all the time. Sag his pants, his hat was always on, super crooked. He's funny, dude. But he'd come over, ride every day, and just throw it down. And, like I said, he moved in with Twitch. And practiced his butt off, and then he ended up moving in with me for a couple years, lived with me for 3-4 years or so. But dude, the dude won X Games 3 years in a row. He came over here with a dream, couldn't even speak English, left his whole country, came over here, practiced his butt off, and then won 3 years in a row. Beat the best guys in the world. So I love his story. It's cool. I mean, that's not easy. Could you imagine just going to a whole nother country, not knowing how to speak the language, and have to teach yourself how to do it? Pretty tough. But and the reason he won is because he outworked everyone. I lived with that guy. I watched how he trained. He outworked everybody. He rode so hard, and he still does to this day. I was just there. He's the only one still practicing freestyle as if X Games is still happening. He went out. I went and watched him. I got a bunch of clips, so I'm going to put it in that edit. He went through every single trick, every upright trick and every flip trick, as if he was training for X Games. Not many freestyle guys do that when there's nothing going on. But he's always been like that. He's like a machine. The dude doesn't make mistakes. So lots of respect for the ninja, dude. He's one of the best in the world. He's getting a little bit older, backing it down a little bit. But still, he's earned everyone's respect in the industry. All right, so this is from Ride Life TV. He says, where do you see the future of FMX going? With less contests taking place around the world, do you think athletes will still be willing to push the boundaries with less rewards on the line? I think the athletes are still going to push it, because even though there's not big money into it and big rewards, but guess what? All the dudes who ride freestyle it wasn't the money that made you do it. It was like the love for riding and the love for your sport and the love for progression and wanting to be better for you. So you always pushed it. Like, yeah, the contest would keep going, but I don't think anyone was like, oh, there's big money on the line, I gotta go do this. Like, people just wanted to do freestyle because they loved it. So I think people are gonna still, the love of riding and the love of the sport, it's still gonna elevate the riders to keep pushing it, even though, say, some of the sponsorships are down now as they were from the past. But as far as not having as many contests, it's never good to see less events. So I don't think it's a great thing for the sport, but I don't think it's going to die off completely. I just think it's so, like, you think, like, where can it go now? Like, what can they do? I feel like they've done everything, and things that I didn't think they could do, they did. So I'm like, so that's why I think some of the buzz has left, because there was always that new, and then it's kind of got to this, like, it's way up here, but it's like, how much farther can it go? But I'm still been blown away each year to year. So it's probably gonna, I don't think it'll ever completely die off, but I don't think it'll have that buzz that it had in those early years of X Games, and they were the best years for sure. So super grateful to be able to experience all that and be a part of that. All right, so this is from Richard. He says, who was your biggest rival and who you wanted to be most like? All right, so biggest rival, I don't think I had any rivals in freestyle, to be honest with you. I honestly freestyle is different. Like, I grew up as a racer, so in the race world, not everybody's friends in the race world. This is racing. Like, a lot of people, you ever watch some of the top dudes come off the track? They don't even look at each other, dude. There's like attitude up in the race world. Freestyle's not like that. Everybody got along. Everybody was cool. We all hung out together. A lot of us rode and trained together. And then we competed. When the event was over, everybody hung out together. So, and I'm just like people in general, so I never had any rivals or really. I think who probably pushed me the most was just our little crew. Like, Deegan was always one step ahead of me and Twitch, and then me and Twitch were kind of right there. But like, Twitch learned something or I learned something, and then he would do it, then I do it. Like, it was constantly, so it wasn't a rival. It was just like a family of friends that just seen one of their boys do it. They're like, hey, if Deegan did it, we got to do it too. Like, but Deegan he always was one step ahead. Like, he did the backflip first, did the, or even go all the way back. He did the seat grab before us. He did the double grab before us. He did the flip before us. He did, but as soon as he did it, we went and learned it right after him. And if I did it before Twitch, Twitch learned it. And if Twitch did it before me, then I would go do it. So I think that was a cool, I guess you could call it, that was a cool just dynamic we had in the Metal Militia between me, Deegan, and Twitch, was just riding together, training together, and always motivating each other to do better. So I think that's why our group actually excelled really well, because we rode together so much, and everybody was always progressing. It pushed the group along. Even Lusk and Potter, Ox, all those dudes ripped. So you had this core group of guys that all were throwing it down, just motivated the whole group. But who did I want to be most like? I'm gonna say there were certain tricks that I watched certain guys do that I'd be like, yo, I want to do it like him, because they just had way better style. So Levi Sherwood is a New Zealand rider. The dude is sick. I don't know if you ever watch his grab tricks. I used to always be like, man, I want to do grab tricks like Levi. He was just super smooth. He had that like perfect style, bend in his back. And if you guys ever seen him do a kiss of death flip, just pretty. The dude just was a pretty rider. So he was like, as far as like flip seat grab variation, he was the guy I was always trying to mimic. So yeah, I don't know if there's anyone. But as far as racing goes, like I said, I grew up as a racer. I was motivated by Dave Bailey, Rick Johnson the most because he was winning when I was growing up. And then even like McGrath. McGrath was towards the end of my race career, my early freestyle careers, McGrath was the man. So I was motivated by him. But Rick Johnson was like the dude when I was growing up. Definitely motivated me. Used to just watch Profile with Champions. Some of you old schoolers know that video. I used to watch that video all the time. And I used to go down to Gary Bailey Motocross School every year. My dad took me down there. And I just think I saw him in there. Big Feist is in here hanging. But he would take me down there every year, and I learned a lot from Gary Bailey. All right, so we got Lauren here. He says, I'm here, bro. He says, just got a set of Bridgestone Battlecross just got a set of Bridgestone Battlecross 30. Should I run the set? Front tire still good. Peace and love. So I'm assuming you just bought 2 new tires, front and rear, and you're asking, should I put the set on or keep your front tire? I mean, there's nothing better than 2 new freshies on your bike. It would be kind of nice. I would just mount them up, dude. 2 brand new freshies. Enjoy them, man. Mount them puppies up. I would put them on. Hey, here's one thing that I've noticed over just the years of being in moto. People always change the rear tire and they don't change the front as much as they should. Change your front tires more. People always ride around with bald front tires and they wonder why their front ends push in and they're struggling in the corners because your front tire's jacked up. So throw that freshie on there. New tire, there's nothing better than new tires. So fun. Bike feels so much better. All right, so we got Clay here. He says, if you got the same deal on a Honda and Husky, what would you choose? That's a good question. Since you got some time on Twitches, Honda. Man, that is a good one, huh? Man, you got me on that one, huh? I don't know, dude, because I like my Husky. There's no better brakes than the Husky. I've never rode a bike with better brakes than a Husky. They're Brimbos. They stop so fast. I was blown away when I first started riding them how gnarly the brakes were. And they're skinny and feel light. I don't know. I felt kind of... That's a toss-up. Twitch's Honda was barking, too. He had that... I think he had a PC on it. That thing sound good, man. Honestly, I don't know. I might say Honda just because I'm in the shift and the Geico Honda team's my favorite looking team, and the red. That's why I put the red plates on my bike because I wanted some red on my bike. People were like, "Why you got the red plates?" I'm not gonna make my Husky red. I just want some red to go with my shift because they look the best, I think. So I might have to go with a Honda just for the red. But they're both good. Like at the end of the day, they're both good bikes. I felt good on Twitch's bike and I love my bike, so. Kind of hard. And I rode Cowie in 2014. I loved my Cowie. So Cowie's a good bike too. They're all good these days, I feel like. All right. But that's a good question. He says, will you tell everyone how much you charge per class or classes? So, all right, so this is for Lauren again. So I charge $200. $200 for a day class. It's a 5-hour class. It's semi-private. I take 5 riders for the day. If you're in California, I charge $180 because I'm trying to offset, because you get in the Midwest, I do it at a private track, no gate fee. The reason I put it to $180 in the California is because they have to pay a gate fee to get in the track, and I'm trying to make it fair for the riders that come to my class that everyone pays $200. So that's, if you go to the website and you're like, hey, why is it cheaper in California? Because those guys got to pay to get in, and I want it to be fair. So $200, day class, 5-hour class, 5 riders. And if you're in California, there's only 4 riders because we're on a public track. So you get a lot of attention. That's the reason I'm only doing semi-private at the moment, is as I like to spend more time with each guy. So I've done big classes, and it's okay. You know, a lot of coaches teach big classes, nothing wrong with it. I just prefer smaller classes, so only doing semi-private classes at the moment. And going to be doing a little bit more one-on-one stuff here as we get more access to more tracks and have more time on it. But we'll be doing a little bit of one-on-one tomorrow. And and I love one-on-one's the best. I mean, come on. Just me and you. We're going to get after it for 2 hours, 3 hours. We're going to get a lot done. All right, so, and like I said, if I skipped your question, because I always look for the question mark, throw it back up with question marks so I don't miss it. Because I don't read every comment. I just scroll and look for a question mark. And, yep, Michael Burns says, God can do everything. God is good. Yes, amen. Amen, amen. But yeah, just in case I missed anybody, throw it back up. Because I like I said, I look for the question marks because I see a lot of you guys. Oh wait, is that it? I got 14%. All right, so we're already kind of getting towards the end. I did stay on here for an hour, so I got 14% left on the laptop before the laptop dies, and we got 7 minutes. So we're gonna end it at 8. So here we go. We got Trent. So let's sneak in a couple last ones here before we run out of time and the computer dies. So it's dropping fast. 13% now. 13%. If it gets too low, we'll end it short. All right, so we got Trent. He says, Ronnie, were you there when Taka tried dip for the first time? So I can't remember. So dip meaning Taka used to be a cigarette smoker. Then he started chewing tobacco to replace his cigarette habit. And I don't know if I was there for the first time, but I do remember him chewing tobacco all the time. And then he kind of went back and forth from quitting, but I think he quit everything now. I don't think he chews. I always see him eating sunflower seeds, so I think that's his new deal. So here's Jeremy R. Is Scummy teaching freestyle? Yes, so if you're in Southern California, definitely. It's necessarily not a trick school. It's just to come and learn how to jump the ramp. So if you want to just jump a ramp with time, definitely go check out Scum. He'll got a safe setup to help you guys get over the ramp safely. But yeah, so let's see. All right, here we go here. We got Chris. He says, do you have PlayStation 4? If so, can you friend me? I don't. I've never been a video person ever in my entire life. Like, that's one thing I never got into. I was never good at it. I remember I'd go to my friend's house. Everyone had them. And I'd sit down and try to play a game. And I sucked. And they would just beat me. And I'd get mad. And be like, screw this, dude. Let's go outside and ride. And I never got into video games. I'm an outdoor person, outdoor kid. I played outside until the street lights came on. You know that rule. Get home before the street lights come on. Big Feist knows that he's here. So that was me. I rode every day until dark. And as soon as it was about to be dark, I got home before the street lights got on. But yeah, I'm still like that. I don't like to be inside. Ask Mel. I hate sitting in front of computers. I'm like, not like this. This is cool. We're doing something. I'm talking about like, I'm not a fan of editing, even though I do it. But hey, still looking for an editor. Somebody's got some edit tools and you want to help out and film some moto, edit some cool stuff. Let's hit me up, man. Let's make some cool videos. All right, so here we go. Here's cool one. We got 4 minutes left and 11% on the thing, so we're going to get this one in. We got a little bit of time. So this is from Jan. He says, describe a backflip on a 70-foot setup. So flipping a 75-foot ramp is really, I mean, we learned on the 45-footer. The 75-footer was more consistent. The 45-footer, you have to know the timing because it's so steep, you can over-rotate it so fast. So you have to know your pool. But that's why I think it's still wise to learn on a 45-footer because it teaches you control. It teaches you. On the 75, you can almost just give it one good tug. You got to give it a good one. We got to pull way harder on the 75 compared to the 45 because the ramp is nowhere as steep as the 45. So you can give it one good tug and kind of, that's why they're more consistent because you just give it one hard one. Where the 45, you have to know what's too hard and what's not hard enough. So I think it's wise to learn on the shorter ramp, learn on the steeper ramp because it teaches you control. Okay, here's too much, not enough. Then when you go on the 45 or to the 75, you already know how to control the flip, whether you need to try to speed it up a little bit, try to slow it down. Which, at the end of the day, there's only so much you can do on a flip. You have to flip the ramp. Once you leave the ramp, the flip has to be done. You can work. You got a little bit of room to work with. You know, if you need to slow it down, you can extend your arms. It's going to slow the flip down a little bit. You can even put on your back brake, slow the flip down. If you're not spinning fast enough, you can pull it in and pin it, and that'll help. But there's only so much to work with. You know, like if you don't flip the ramp, you're not gonna. You got a little bit of game to work with. But if you didn't flip the ramp, it's under rotating, you're usually stuck. So, 75 is a good. But here's my advice: if you've never done a flip before, make sure you have a foam fit. Don't try to flip the ramp at 75 feet with no foam fit. Way too dangerous. It's way harder than you think. It's every single top guy started on a 50, went from 50 to a 110, went from a 110 to a big bike in the foam pit. Most of the guys, there are a few guys that didn't use foam pits, but majority of the guys that you see today all use foam pits. The best riders in the world all use foam pits. And from a bicycle, I started on a bicycle, 50, 110, big bike, 45 ramp, 75 ramp. It wasn't like I just showed up, put the ramp at 75 foot and went for a flip over dirt. Don't do that. It's way too dangerous. So make sure you use wisdom. If you don't have a foam pit, man, it's really a high risk. So be careful. And it's like I said, flipping the 75 footer, if you flip the 45 footer and then switch to the 75 footer, the first time you go from the 45 to the 75, you're going to flip the 75 and you're going to think you're under rotating because it takes twice as long to rotate. So you get upside down and you're like, what's going, like, where's the landing? Where's the landing? Where's the landing? And you feel like you want to jump off because you think, man, I'm under rotating. It's been so long because the 45 flips so fast. But you have to be patient on the 75. You have to wait for it to come around. So I think that was one of the things I learned the first time I went into the pit off the 75 foot was to be patient and wait because it's going to take a lot longer to rotate. But be careful. Flips are dangerous. I don't recommend anybody doing backflips on dirt bikes unless you have a foam pit. All right, so we're at 8% now with 1 minute left. All right, so let's get Fred Kitchen. It says, do you ever think about your path, and if you hadn't gone in Moto, FMX, what would you be doing these days? I already know 100%. If I did not ride freestyle motocross, I would have been a police officer because my entire family are police officers. I even went to college for forensic science before I moved to California, and I was going to go into law enforcement like everybody else in my family. My dad is a retired lieutenant, 39 years on the force, second in charge. My cousin I grew up with is a New Jersey State police officer. My dad's older brother was also a police officer. My niece is taking law enforcement classes in college now. And then my father's father was chief of the fire department. So I would have been a police officer like all the other Feisst boys. But I wanted to ride motocross, and I figured, hey, I'm going to go to California and just go for it. And if it works out, cool. If it doesn't, I was planning on going home and going back to college to be a police officer. But my moto career took off. Freestyle, the whole birth of freestyle took off. Like, I didn't know that going there that freestyle was going to take off. I just went there, like, still a racer, wanting to film free ride videos. The whole reason I went, because the Krusty deal was blown up. I just want to go film free ride videos. But through that whole movement, we created a whole new sport and was able to make a living riding my dirt bike. So, and that's what's cool. At the end of the day, I grew up as a racer. At the end of the day, I just want to ride. I want to ride my dirt bike, and that's what I got to do. And I still love racing, still love riding the track, but freestyle is seriously one of the most funnest ways to make a living on a dirt bike. Like, it was so fun to learn tricks and to create, to think up something new that's never been done before on a dirt bike and be one of the first people to do it. And even if you weren't the first one to actually do that trick, but the first time that you do that trick and you go through this learning process, it feels so good. Like, I loved it. It was a fun job. I was super grateful I got to do freestyle cross for a living.